I've been to Bosnia. I have been to Bosnia. Um, I also liked it a lot. Uh, I went through an extremely traumatic. I was going through an extremely traumatic breakup at the time, so that in some ways overshadowed it. It was pretty intense, actually. Like, sorry, this is more my personal experience as opposed to like a synthesis of the culture.
It's all right.
But
It's an open discussion. Say
okay,
however you
okay.
feel.
But I just to lay the context, we were there for like 2 weeks, I think,
Yeah,
3 weeks, two
two
weeks,
weeks, two and a half.
2 weeks, and so by day we were in these really intense lectures that were all about the genocide that happened in the 90s, and we were learning about the justice system and how fucked the
International
situation.
law, also.
Yeah, how fucked up the situation was, and how it still is, and how there's like very little like hope for integration of the three ethnic groups, and it was really heavy shit, you know.
Yeah.
Really interesting, really important to learn about, but pretty heavy. And then by night, everyone's all like, "Oh fuck, glad that's over!" And everyone's goes and we bought Rakiya, which is like plum liquor, right?
Yeah.
Plum
Yeah.
shit,
Well,
plum.
they make it out of a lot of fruits: pears, apples,
Oh,
blueberries.
just like fruit brandy, I guess.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
like cheaper than water and
the drink of my soul.
such high alcohol content, and you just get so fucked up. And so we all did, and I was going through a breakup, and then there was a gender war that broke out fueled by Rakia and learning about genocide, and it was a mess, but a fun mess. And
Yeah.
we learned a lot about Bosnia
We
too.
learned a
So
lot about pashtetas and goat
Pasteta,
stomach.
yeah, a lot of interesting times over there.
Interesting.
But in terms of the culture, I thought it was quite interesting with the three ethnic groups. How there's these three very distinct ethnic religious groups. Like they all have their
Religious,
own
yeah.
language, but they also have their own religion, and they're also their own people, and they're all very divided. Um,
It was three. It was
and
three in particular. It was the Christians, the Muslims, and the Orthodox, I believe.
right,
Um,
I think the Croats
Croatians are
are
Orthodox.
Orthodox Christian, and then the Bosniaks are Muslim,
Bosniaks are
and then
Muslim.
the Serbians are no, maybe the Serbians are Orthodox.
Yeah,
One of the
one
two.
one of the two.
Yeah. So anyway, no one agrees over there,
Yeah,
and just like the education system that's in place right now isn't really working to provide uh, their educational goals are not to like integrate the three groups. They're like to further split them up, and like teach very different histories to each group in their own schools. So that's one of the reasons why like the future doesn't look that great, unfortunately. Just because you know they're all learning different histories, they're all learning different perspectives, and there's not a lot of you know
yeah,
unity or whatever. So
yeah, and it's actually interesting because we're seeing a lot of the same things here in America. You know, we've got the left and the right, and the divide between the South and the North. And me and Fedor, we've been talking to a friend of ours who's from the South, and he was telling Fedor about how, he thought that everyone in the United States is getting the same history lessons and we're all taught the same thing, when that's definitely not the case. And he was saying stuff like he doesn't think that the Civil War was fought over slavery, when in the North it's quite clear that that's what most people understand is true. So, we have a very similar divide here in our country.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and a similar divide that's not necessarily being helped by our education system.
Mhm.
Like that's such a
yeah.
central thing, is just like understanding the basic history of what happened. I managed to leave high school with like hardly any understanding of the history of this country. It wasn't until I mean I still don't know a lot, to be honest. there's so much I don't know, but I have done like a little bit more reading, and it's just incredible what they don't tell you. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.